Okay, so welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you. So, welcome back to another episode of Renewables in Action. So, where we actually spotlight the leaders, the innovations, the ideas that power actually clean energy revolution. And today, what we're doing is revisiting a familiar voice that you've heard in our platform before, right? So, we're talking about here Afonso Faria from AFF Wind Service. So, you've heard Afonso before, as I say, with us, and it will be a pleasure to talk to him once more time. So, it's been a transformative years for AFF. Let me just say that. So, from joining the Tuemia Wind Association to launching new offices in Spain, securing some major contract across Europe. Though that's come with challenges as well, yeah, because that's what you get when you have rapid growth as well. Managing, expanding team, navigating travel logistics, and also maintaining operational excellence across borders. So in this conversation, so what we're gonna have with Afonso is to have some candid insight on the company evolution over the past 12 months, but also understand how he's steering the team, through growing pains and what's ahead, including their strategy for consolidating European growth and also an exciting hydrogen partnership. So AFF upcoming presence, at a key renewable energy conference in Morocco. So whether you are a fellow founder or wind energy enthusiast or someone watching, the clean energy landscape unfolding, I believe that today's episode, this conversation with Afonso will have something for you. So I definitely want to obviously get you diving. So I see Afonso in a minute. Hey, as usual, as you know me, so I'm turning to founders here of Renewables in Africa. What we do is very simple. We raise awareness about renewables energy, in Africa, but also across the world. So we here to make sure that if you want to step into Africa, we can help you to obviously get more visibility, more leads, and more deals, and also to deploy on the continent. So today we're talking to Afonso, and I just want to let him in. So, Afonso, can you hear me? Well,
I can hear you, Tony. Hi, Tony. How are things?
yeah, very good, very good. It looks like now you're becoming very much a regular voice, in the
It seems so, yeah.
also,
It
yeah, it's
seems so.
almost like you're the second host. People are used to see you now. So
Yeah,
as I say, so it's definitely a big pleasure for me to have you on the platform, and just want to welcome you once again. But before we dive into the question as we usually do, so if you could also again take maybe a couple of minutes to reintroduce yourself so that people know exactly who you are.
yeah, sure. So, for those that don't know me, Afonso Faria. I'm the founder CEO of AFF Windservices. I am in the industry now almost 20 years. 2006 is when I started. The company itself has now 11 years, 2016 when we started. Um, and we just yeah, that's very shortly who I am and what we do. I mean, we do a lot. We try to do a lot. We try to support a lot. I try to support a lot. But that's mainly that's yeah, a little bit where we are and where we come from.
Excellent. So it's almost like you're going to be confirming that say that overnight success is 10 years in the making. Yeah. So
It takes time. It takes time.
yeah, definitely. And as we talking about taking time, I know that things seems to be because obviously you and I know each other now for a good couple of years, so
Yeah,
things seems to be accelerating now.
yeah,
So I was wondering whether you can describe to me the evolution of AFF Wind Service over the last 12 months. Yeah, but
yeah,
before that, obviously, feel free to we
yeah,
explain to people as well what is that AFF Wind Service uh,
yeah,
do. So what it does, and then what has
yeah.
happened over the last 12 months.
Yeah, sure. So it is over the last 12 months, or a little bit the evolution and the acceleration. It's not really accelerating. I don't believe that. I'm not a big believer of trying to take two big steps. I think that growth comes from step by step. and from just evolving in a natural way, also maintaining the pace of what we have and what we need to maintain. Over the last 12 months, we've grown a little bit, but we've been able to secure all the people and all the workplaces that we have. So mainly our core business is site management, as you know, in the installation phase, execution phase of the wind farms. So we work mainly with wind turbines, with the wind in the renewables. So over the last 12 months, we've been able to secure that. And then as a natural process of securing jobs and securing contracts, I've come across something else that we've stepped into over the last year, and that is the owners engineering, so the consultation to the wind farm owners. So we're doing that as well. That is growing as it needs to grow. When I say as it needs to grow, is again we could step into something. It's not about not having a big plan ahead, but it's about making those secure steps so that you don't stumble. You'll fall anyway, you'll stumble anyway, but at least the stumble will not be as hard. So I believe that things need to grow gradually and not too fast. But that's going well. That's growing good. We have teams for that. We have some guys for that. We're actually expanding in that also. And then also again looking into where can we position ourselves better? How can we diverse a little bit more the scopes that we have, so that we are not just relying on one scope as a company. We've gone into the service O&M, operation and maintenance, so we're supplying that as well. That was a big step that we've taken financially, planning wise also, because all of a sudden you have two teams with a backup team in case anything is needed. So all of a sudden you have more manpower, you have a bigger fleet of cars, you have bigger necessities. With that comes the necessity to grow, to expand the certification as well. So we are working on the ISO certification for the environmental part as well, because we are dealing with that. So that has been, I wouldn't say the biggest hurdle, but that has been the biggest focus that I have had since last year, September, October, up until now still, to make sure that everything is growing. And then apart from that, of course, we have our own main core business with the site management that is going now. We're in the high season, or the high season is starting now. So all the planning, all the traveling, all the projects, making sure that we can support and guide and be available for the needs from our customers, but also maintain a healthy lifestyle. In Morocco, Africa, that's where we aim to go to as well. Yeah.
Excellent. So definitely we're talking about moving from site management to owners engineering to O&M. So all of that, that's definitely a lot to take on, because yes, it's within the same industry, but each of those services will come with specific needs and specific challenges that need to be addressed. So clearly I understand why you're saying that it has been a hectic but yet a very interesting year. And you're talking about securing those new contracts. We're going to come back to that. But one thing that you've also done is to join the Lithuania Wind Association, and having an office in Spain that has been open. Clearly you've been expanding, So what really has been driving this growth, would you say?
I can't. I can't put a finger on it. I can't. It's not. Well, you know yourself, as a business owner, you aim to grow, you aim to do more, you aim to be more active, but mainly, and that is what I've over the last 6 months, what I've been thinking about on a conversation that I was having with someone. As a business owner, you come to a point where you are actually working for the people that you contract. So I have all the people working for me. They are out there doing a wonderful job. They're doing a really good job. They are the face of the company. They are the ones that make the company grow. But I need to secure, so I need to work for them. I need to make sure that they have constant workflow. So with that in mind, I need to go out there and find something. I need to grow further. I need to find the solutions for the issues, for the problems that we have in Europe and in the world, maybe. But in Europe, we are having a little bit of a it's not as easy as it used to be to travel around with compliance and so on. So that automatically brings the need for us to look into subsidiaries in other other regions or other countries where we register our companies. So with that being said, this year still, this summer, we will officially reopen the UK department, and we'll launch that 100% working and trading, so that we can face that also in the future. But again, you can look into that. Is it something ambitious that I'm trying to get out there and get everything? Not really. It's just to make sure that the guys that I have, they have everything that is needed to work and to maintain working and to maintain sustaining their own lives and their own families. So, and that is maybe, because I can't put the finger on it, it's not that ambitious. You know, as a business owner, you can say, I want to take everything and I'm going to take everything, but it's not that. It's just there is a need to make sure that the guys are working. I cannot simply sit back, at least myself, I cannot simply sit back, wait for a plan that we receive from customers, plan the guys in. Whenever the plan is finished, they just need to wait. I can't do that. It bothers me. So therefore, I need to go out there. I need to find something else. The Lithuanian or the Latvian Wind Energy Association, it is something I stumbled upon. It was actually a colleague that showed me, and I was interested. It is quite impressive to see how the Baltic countries are growing and how they are organizing themselves. And as always, I'm always willing to support. I'm always willing to learn more also, because we can learn a lot from how other companies and how other associations deal with hurdles, with problems. So I decided, okay, why not? Let me join that. I can always learn from it. Maybe I can bring in a little bit of my input as well, but I can always learn from it. So that's how it goes. With Spain and being in Spain, that is the service department. That is where we've been allocated to. So we need to make sure that we have everything compliant and that we are working in the correct way.
That's interesting. And as you were speaking, because I know sometimes people have some challenges, picturing. I just wanted to show a couple of pictures here as to that's some of the projects that you've been running. So where are we in this picture?
This is in Germany. Yeah.
In Germany. Okay. Yeah. So how big is the site in here that you're doing?
German projects are typically or normally they are a little bit smaller sizes, so they are on the 3, 4, 5 turbine sizes. However, we should not underestimate the German market, because the German market is one of the biggest markets. So even though the project sizes are not like in other countries where we go 20, 30 and above, in Germany it's typically a little bit smaller, but the market itself as a region, as a country, it's much bigger than all the other countries. Yeah, it's one of the biggest markets that there is.
Excellent. So we're in Germany here. Yeah, so let me just move.
Germany takes definitely that growth lead there. We can see that.
Okay. So I think I just want to move on to I think there's another picture here. Yes. Is this Germany, this one? So that's all Germany.
Yeah, it's the same project. It's the same project.
Yeah, it's interesting because you see how obviously green it is everywhere else. Right?
Yeah, this is actually in South Germany, close to Frankfurt. So it's actually close to that forest, that famous forest, is it the dark forest, black forest? Yeah, it's close to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And essentially, what you're saying that you have one of your guys managing everything there, isn't it?
The installation works, yeah. So we will be supporting the installation supervisors, the installation teams, cranes, manage on a typical day-to-day basis. On a site manager, he will be overseeing and supporting with budget, contractual planning needs and planning adjustments. Yeah.
On a site like that, so how many people would you say that's a small site, that's fine, but how many people would work on a site like this, would you say?
Typically, if you want to build one wind turbine, you would need, for one wind turbine, you would need around, I would say, not less than 10, 12 guys. And that is when you're doing installation, you need guys on top, guys below, supervision. And then that is not counting the cranes and the transport, but the installation technicians, you'll be looking around anywhere between 8 and 12, depending on the team, depending on the budget, but not less than that. It would be not fair on the technicians if we put less people. They would need to, it'll be harder on them for the work. Yeah.
Okay. And how long would it take to install it? So I'm talking about the installation phase, right? Not the development. Development is something else. But
Yeah,
you know,
The
right.
development phase takes a lot longer. Sometimes we go on years on a development phase, but the installation phase from when we get the site and we install the first tower until we install the last blade or we complete everything, is about 4 or 5 days. Well, there is some days that we need to wait, but 1 week, 2 to 3 weeks, it's possible to do so. And that is with finishing, cleaning up, inspecting everything. Yeah. Crane
Okay.
works is a little bit less. Crane works, we're talking about 3 to 4 days with the big crane that does the full installation, and half a day to 1 day with the smaller crane that does a couple of towers before we actually start. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how many hours in a day you're working.
Yeah, we actually we are going into in Germany. We follow the German legislation, so we're actually not doing that many hours. We can do maximum 60 hours a week, so that's 10 hours a day, which is pretty sufficient, especially when you count the physical works and
Mm.
it's sufficient. I mean, other countries, we are known. Um, in general that there is this idea that we do 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Um, it's yeah, in my opinion, 10 hours are sufficient. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's I
yeah,
could see here
it's more than
obviously that's
sufficient. Yeah,
we could see that's the
yeah.
location where
Especially
you
because
will.
of the fatigue and the hard work that it is. If we are doing too many hours constantly, at some point we're just tired.
And
Especially
obviously
the
if you
technicians. Yeah,
try, I guess this
yeah,
is where you can make lots of mistakes, right? So you can see, for example, a
yeah,
location where you
yeah,
will actually stock some of those, store some of
yeah.
those components. So they're massive. I think I've always been impressed by those wind turbine. So when you see them
Yeah,
from far, they look small, but when the closer you get, so you
yeah,
realize how much of a
yeah, yeah,
basically giant machine they are. So no, thanks for that. I think it's we like to show these pictures because it gives an idea to people what we're really talking about here, so you get a sense as to what it's all about, and that's great. And with this rapid growth mentioned, obviously challenges will occur. What has been the biggest operational hurdle you face this year? I know because I've been part of it without obviously spilling too much bins. I know that staffing, traveling, and coordination of a dispersed team has been some of them. So, are they the biggest operational hurdle you face?
yeah, definitely. And it's staffing and it's understanding everyone's needs, respecting everyone's needs, ensuring that the company is also someone that has needs and that need to be followed. But it's respecting and following that. So that I would say that I'm sure I'm not the only one that sometimes has the feeling that um, staffing has it's the biggest. It's not a hurdle. It's just the biggest focus. It's where we spend most energy on, and that is to
Yeah.
ensure that
Hmm.
yeah, everyone is compliant, everyone is happy, everyone is okay with the works that they do, but everyone is also following what the company wants.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And what about traveling and coordination of the team?
yeah. Traveling is it's yeah. For myself, it's becoming an issue. To be honest, not an issue. It's becoming a hurdle because we've grown in sizes, manpower wise. We've grown quite a lot. So where in the past we would be 5, 6 guys, and it would be easy for me to maintain and to know exactly when someone was traveling and so on. Now it's a lot more. So now I need to be, and because I'm still on my own, I am getting an admin to support me. Um, and also because I don't believe it's not I don't believe when there is a necessity we need to expand from the back office, but I don't believe so much in having a big back office setup, um, and then the people in the field they need to work for maintaining that. So at the moment that is becoming one of my where I spend good couple of hours a week, more than a couple of hours a week, just focus on that. So that takes away some time for other things. So at the moment, time management, my own time management, is what I wouldn't say struggle, but I need to be very careful how I manage my time and how I plan my time with the
Yeah,
traveling with everyone. Because when we talk about traveling, we talk about flights, accommodation, cars, more or less, because we have our own fleet in most of the projects. But then cars come with maintenance, regular maintenance, service intervals, breakups, and let's say whatever. So yeah, it's not just it's just not just a flight ticket.
yeah. No, I absolutely understand what you're talking about here. So, and I know you've been. I do travel as well, but probably not as much as you. So, but with the little that I do, I definitely see what you're talking about here, and obviously more than happy
Yeah.
to see
Yes.
how one can help
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
as the company culture adapted with the growth of AFF, because you spread into different country, different nationality, which is the value that you always wanted to see in your company. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you need everybody wherever they come from,
Yeah.
whichever country they come from, to adopt the company culture.
Yeah.
So, have you had any challenges there as well, or would you say
Yeah.
you've managed that relatively well?
Yeah. No challenges. We always have challenges, and we have had to do some restructuring over the last couple of months. That was what was needed. It was not easy to do, but we've done some restructuring. It was actually a personal complex step that I've taken, or a decision that I've taken. But the staff adapting or changing, I don't actually, now that you asked, that you mentioned that, yes, they have adapted, and but in a good way. So, and that's what I'm actually thankful for that. So I can see that the managers and everyone that is out there, they are becoming more and more independent and more um, uh, where I don't need to give in support, where I don't need to necessarily guide or inform or whatever. So they are out there on their own, and I trust that they look after the company, that they are looking out the best interest for the company. So I can only be thankful for that. And I do have a good team. I also try to, when I get someone on board, I try to get people on board that have more or less the same mentality, that is quality. We need to work for quality, and sometimes we need to do in a little bit more effort. We need to put in a little bit more extra effort to supply that quality and supply that well-being. So now that you mentioned that, yeah, they have adapted, but they have adapted in a correct way, in a good way, where it's actually supporting me and supporting the company to grow. Like I said earlier on, we can build all the companies we want. We can open up companies. We can start companies that takes 5 minutes. We just register online. But and we can even work our own companies, and we can even be the face. But if the staff that we hire are not the face of the company, are not driving that, then we
Mhm.
go nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I think absolutely I agree with you there. So
Yeah.
looking at the ahead, right? Because we also need
Hmm.
to, because whatever happened happens, right, in the past. So we always
Hmm.
need to be looking forward, looking for
Yeah.
solution, looking at how to fix things. What would you say are the key priorities for the next 12 months, especially when it comes to consolidating your European footprint, which obviously most of the business come from there?
Um, I Again, it's hard. It's hard for me to. Of course, I have a direction. I have an idea what I want. I know exactly what I want. Um, but again, it's step by step. For the next 12 months, it's again securing that everyone's working. That's always my main priority. Securing the plans, full year planning, full year working. Um, Also securing that we as a company, we secure contracts in a healthy way. Healthy contracts, when I mean healthy contracts, is that the profit margins are healthy, so that once we go into the low season, we can maintain staff on a payroll, and we can maintain at least a minimum payment level that feel everyone is feeling secure with and safe with. So my goal is always to maintain that. And with that being said, or with that in the back of my mind, it's always securing the next contract. It's always looking out for, making sure that we do a good job, so that we can go into the next client and sign another contract, keep everyone busy, keep everyone working. So yeah, grow as we've been growing, step by step as we've done from the beginning.
Hmm. Okay, I think that's a good preoccupation to have, and next 12 months definitely going to be kind of busy. So just a quick question. I know you're not into the U.S. market for now, but obviously with Trump coming and shutting down a lot of the renewable energy space, or at least in the US, I was wondering, for you guys in Europe, have you seen any kind of repercussions or any sort of impact, or not at all? Or if you've not felt anything?
I'm not noticed it yet, although in Europe it seems to be growing now. Offshore is growing now also, so it is going into a good direction. For the last couple of years, it seemed like the industry itself was waiting on a big boom, a big explosion or expansion, and it was just not coming. I am a strong believer that this year that's coming. We definitely see, and also what I'm looking into as with contract management, with people with company management. Um, I do see that there is a growth coming later
Hmm.
this year and from the next years. I don't know how America is going to impact that, but for now, I don't see that.
Okay, excellent. It's good to know, and it's reassuring, right? Because I think people looking to step into the market, or maybe investors, so looking at that, so it's reassuring. So talking about it, just brings something in my mind. So talking about investors, so at the rate at which you evolving, which is let's say good and healthy, not just exponential growth all of a sudden, but obviously uh, let's say at a reasonable pace. Have you been approached by a number of investors, or are you interested or open to investment?
um, what type of investment?
Well, like I say, people wanting to invest into the company because because I give you an example. So I've been to a conference recently with Africa CEO Forum, so I've met a number of investors. They're always looking out for the next big thing, the next big company
Hmm.
that they can support to grow. So
Yeah,
that's what I was saying, and you are definitely in a growth phase in your
yeah,
company,
yeah,
and there's various need, and obviously injection of cash could potentially
yeah,
accelerate you as well. But
yeah. It
that's
could.
if you are ready and prepared to. That's what I would say. Are you looking for, are you open to no investment? And number two, have you been approached by people for investment into your company?
I've not been approached. I'm always open for anything. It doesn't mean that there's only one thing that I'm very careful with. At least now I'm very careful with. Um, I have something in mind that I want to grow. I have something in mind that I'm working on, and I hope that I am contributing with that with AFF Wind. And that is, like I say to all my guys, you can be with AFF Wind for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, as long as I know that you've come into AFF and you left knowing a little bit more and growing a little bit more, I feel accomplished. So I do am set, so at least that's my mindset, is to support professionals, to support them growing, to support them growing in all levels, personal, professional levels. So if there are investments or companies that would like to invest in AFF, I would not want to lose those values. I would not lose those values. I will
Excellent. So that
welcome it. I will grow. I would support in growing and supporting whatever comes, but I would not go into losing those values.
and that's obviously good for you to be
Yeah,
thinking this way. So clearly,
yeah,
you're open for suggestions for initiative, but as long as they respect the visions that you're looking to and the roadmap that you set for yourself, so you don't
yeah.
mind entering into conversation. Excellent, that's good. So any investors listening to us, you know that the door is open. So Afonso will not say no for to having a word with you. So I've
Yeah.
heard that you're going to Morocco. So I've heard I'm also going to Morocco. We're gonna
You're
meet
also
there.
going. You're going to meet there
Yeah,
actually. I
which would be a
am
good,
going to Morocco.
yeah, a good party. And at the same time as well, and I'm also involved into that. You are into a conversation with hydrogen startup, so in
Yeah.
South Africa. So I just wanted to know if you can tell us more about these initiatives from your viewpoint, obviously, and then and what does it mean for AFF broader strategy?
Yeah. Again, it's into.
Hi, Afonso. Well, I think for now, it looks like I may have Afonso probably have a little bit of a let's say challenge with the Wi-Fi, but I'm sure it's going to be back in a second. But that's actually a good point for us just to have a little pause, and after that we can. Hey, welcome again, everybody. So we're talking to Afonso Faria, who's the CEO and owner of AFF Windservice. So AFF Windservice is a service company into the wind industry. So what they do, they're very strong in actually three kind of services. So we're talking about site management for sure as well. We're talking about also apart from site management, we're talking about owners engineering. So if you're looking for another company to look at your projects on your behalf and serve your best interest, so they can do that for you, you can talk to them. Or you're looking for a company to look after your site once it's operational maintenance. Obviously, Afonso can also do that for you. And then we've gone through a series of questions, getting to understand a little bit more, because over the last 12 months, so it's been a very interesting year for AFF. So they've accelerated. Let's put it that way. They've joined the Lithuania Wind Association. On top of that, they had some very new, interesting contract. They've opened an office in Spain. Obviously, that growth came with a lot of challenges, as you say. To Afonso is saying that now, having to deal and to run an even more diverse team. So that carries a challenge. Obviously, managing his own time. Those are actually candid, let's say, reflection and insights from a business owner, right? Sharing with you what it's like to be sitting and running this service company into the wind industry. And I'm sure hoping that you taking some note. And last thing Afonso said is that obviously as the company is growing, so he's very keen to talk to potential investors who may want to work a journey with him, part of a journey with him, so invest into the company, as long as you respect the vision, the culture, and also the roadmap, right? So that's exactly, hopefully, Afonso, I've actually sort of picked up clearly what you what you say. So happy to you back
Sorry
in
for
here.
that. Yeah, sorry for that. My internet just gone.
No
That's
problem at all.
technology. That's technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought we were actually this was a repeat of the power outage that we had in Portugal and Spain. You're becoming used to that now, yeah.
That's actually something to think about, these power outages and the way that they had to, what needed to be done to restart again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to
There's
be honest,
something.
yeah, not digressing, but I never really understood what really happened. What was that? I
No
mean,
one did. No one did.
I know there's a lot of potential explanations, right? One of them being, cyber attack. I don't know. I think I've
I
always
don't
found
know.
it a kind of
I think
interesting. Yeah.
I think someone just went somewhere and made a prank and switched it off, and that's it.
I'm hoping that someone won't get this kind of idea quite often, right? So that would be trouble. But mind
Yeah.
you, as you were actually talking about Africa, it gives you an idea what actually people are experiencing in the continent. When you don't have constant power and then having regular power cuts. Obviously, when you're living in Europe, in let's say mature market, so you become almost you take it for granted. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it shows you how much
Yeah.
having a constant supply of power, uninterrupted,
Yeah.
affordable. It's important not only to run your life, on a personal level, but on a professional level as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And that
societal
is a little
level.
bit, and that's a little bit going back to your question before I dropped out. That's a
Yeah.
little bit what I'm hoping to gain from the African partnerships,
Mm.
is exactly that. I mean, of course, my expertise, my experience, that's something that I can give into, and I can give my input, and I can contribute with. But gaining more knowledge, understanding better things that we take for granted. That is what I want to. Hold on, my screen just went off. So gaining and understanding that, because we take things for granted sometimes. We believe that everything is just there, right? We believe that we have power all the time, and we have all the needs and all the basic necessities all the time. That's not always the case. And I see with the startup, for example, that we are negotiating with, the way that this startup is setting up and the way that they are projecting it and they are working, it's something that we don't always see in Europe, because we take things for granted sometimes. Not sometimes, I would say more than sometimes. So, and that's what I hope to learn. That's what I hope to get also experience with.
And in the same way, I'm sure as well they will learn a lot from you, and not only that startup, but also for you going there and exchanging people on the ground. They will learn a lot and about how you deal with certain problem, and that's what this association is quite interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to that conversations. Probably gonna good time to sit and have some proper proper conversation.
I'm looking forward to Morocco. That's I'm looking
maybe
forward to that. Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna have a drink sitting on the camel, right? So
Well, yeah, but my intention is I'm not sure if I can execute it, but my intention is actually to take the bike to Morocco. So I'm really looking forward to drive on the coast of Morocco and all the way to Rabat. So
that would be something. That would be something, like I say. So if you do that, definitely please make sure that, like I say, you make it a journey much more step. We can follow on the internet, at which stage you are. So that would be very interesting. It's almost like a Paris-Dakar. It's kind of a trip. It's just like you're gonna be on your own, as opposed to having some other competitors. No, that's fine. So, and basically, finally, as the wind continues to mature and intersect with other clean technology, so where do you see AFF position itself in the next phase of energy transition?
I see ourselves as an important, or as someone that, as a company that contributes. So I see ourselves as a company of value that brings in value, be that with expertise, be that with dedicated services that we supply or support that we supply for specific tasks. But I see us up there doing our own supporting in our way and making sure that transition is there.
Well, excellent. I think that's that's a beautiful thing to have. I think, as I say, so it's been a pleasure talking to you. But I know I have received a couple of very quick questions that I wanted you to address.
I can't see those.
Can you hear me?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
So how can we see which markets and countries
Yes, let me just
to expand into next?
Yes, exactly. So I have a couple of questions that I received. I was wondering, maybe if somebody wanted to know. So, how does AFF choose which market and country to expand into? Maybe if you want to dive into that a little bit.
We choose on the offer.
Okay.
So that with that said, we don't deny anything. We don't deny anything. For example, at the moment we are discussing internally on how to support a country that at the moment is not going through a very good civil state, but we choose on the offer. We don't deny any countries. If there is an offer to go to Asia, Africa, we will certainly explore that and certainly see if we can support, and in what way we can support, and how we can be of help. So we
can't discriminate.
We are not picky. Let's say we don't pick specifically.
Okay, I think that's a fair response, and it makes sense. So you see what comes, and the lines where it makes sense, and it makes sense. You tap into that. If it doesn't make sense, so you leave it. Yeah, excellent. So let me just have another question, which is is AFF involved into any training capacity building for local technicians?
We don't have training. We don't have training facilities. we are, and it's something that due to the lack of time, we have not been able to develop yet to the full as we want. We want to develop some mindset training, some support when it comes to that. But specific technical trainings, we don't have those facilities. We don't do. We also contract to external companies. We do know good companies that we use ourselves and that we know in different regions of Europe, in different countries of Europe. So we can recommend, if there is a need for that, we can recommend specific companies that do a really terrific job with training.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think if you could do that, that would be fine. So another question I received is, how do you ensure safety and quality across so many different project sites?
Yeah, so safety and quality, and especially when we go along different projects, different sizes, different countries, it's about consistency. It's about having the same parameters, the same requirements, and the same demands for every single project. So if we go into a one turbine project, we will expect to have, we will enforce the same mindset, the same quality and safety mindset, and the same implementation of it. And that sometimes we lose track sometimes of that when we go into different size projects. Also, country-wise, we expect the same. It's not because we are in a different country that we are more or less strict. Of course, we follow the local legislations, but our own, and the way that we, as a company, that we talk to, we share experience with each other. That's the way that we do that.
Excellent, brilliant.
Consistency.
Excellent. Let me just take one last question before we can wrap up. So, what advice would you give to someone looking to start a career in the wind energy sector?
Oh, that's some mixed feelings on that one.
That's interesting. Why mixed? Why mixed? I was under the impression you would say go for it, but it looks like.
Yeah, no, go for it. But we travel a lot. Of course, we are trying, and the industry is changing. The industry is changing as that we are trying to have that balance, life balance, where we work for X amount of weeks. We are at home for an X amount of weeks. But anyone stepping into a traveling live industry, be that the wind, be that any other industry, anyone traveling into a traveling live industry, they need to understand what traveling is about. And traveling is about we making money for someone else. We are making money for the family. We are making money for our kids, but we are not necessarily present all the time. And we need to be willing to accept that. Anyone stepping into it needs to understand that and needs to be able to accept that we might make a lot of money and buy a brand new Mercedes, but half of the year we are not driving in it.
I love it.
That's the way it is. That's the way it is. It's a lovely lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that grows into us, but we need to understand that. We really need to understand.
And that's actually tough talk. Tough love, tough talk. That's good to understand that. And doing as well as
be that a man or a woman, that there are a lot of women coming into the industry also, and it's a good thing. We have different ideas and much better overview and a much better support also. But be that a man or a woman, we will not be present. We are either at work or we are at home, and we need to accept that.
Oh, there you go. So whoever asks the questions, so you have your response. So you be prepared, be careful for what you wish for, right? So you may get into the industry, but you may not exactly get to lifestyle that you imagine. So important for you to keep that in mind. So Afonso, it was a pleasure for me talking to you. So I just want to give you a chance to say maybe one final word before we wrap it up.
Yeah, final word is I'm always approachable. I'm always, maybe sometimes I'm not sometimes I don't respond straight away on LinkedIn or Messenger or even WhatsApp or whatever. But I'm always approachable. I'm always hoping to be able to help someone. I'm always available to try to help and to try to support. So whatever need there is, even if just reach out. If there's questions, if there is specific questions or concerns or just advice or whatever. It doesn't always need to be a commercial transaction. Also with other companies, with other CEOs, with other company owners. We are here to help each other and make the industry grow together. That's how we need to look into this.
Excellent. Those beautiful words, like I say, Afonso. Always a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you here. You're becoming a regular feature, and people do love it. I could see that you've become definitely a a character, an influencer, put it that way, in the wind on LinkedIn at least. So people like to hear
Yeah.
what you say because, jokes aside, you're having a very beautiful journey. Not an easy journey, but one that is worth watching. And then building a company for the last 11, 12 years, as you've been doing so far, as I say, it's something definitely it's good to see in the industry. We need local champion, we need big champion to tell people that yes, it is possible to make a good life out of it and to make good business and to serve society and the industry. So thanks very much for that, Afonso, and then
Thank
looking
you.
forward to
Thanks everyone that's listening,
showing you.
and thank you for the
Yeah,
questions.
no, yeah, definitely brilliant question as always. Thanks, Afonso. I'll definitely catch up with you so on backstage. So I think you have seen obviously the question, so we just wrap it up. What was a very rich, insightful discussion with Afonso Faria. So from the bold stride of AFF Wind Service, what they've taken across Europe to the honest reflection. I really like his honest answers, to the challenge coming with scaling. So it's clear that the company it's growing and it's evolving with purpose, I would say, because that's what he says. He's very happy to talk and engage with anybody, but it has to be with purpose. It has to have a vision that coincides with his and also a roadmap. And as AFF set its sight into further consolidating the European presence, because at the end of the day, don't leave the place where you actually eat. So it's important. You have to grow that. He's also keen to explore new initiative. That's, for example, the hydrogen startup company he's discussing with. So I'm sure when the time is right, he will tell us more about that. And to also expanding into North Africa. So he's going there. So he might be taking the bike over there. So watch out for that. So the message is very clear. So what they're showing is that this is a company that's prepared not just for the future of the wind, but also the future of all integrated clean energy system. So Afonso, I want to really thank you for the journey that you're doing with us, with our listeners. So thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, if that has a if he has come to you, don't forget that you still need to subscribe. And I wanted to share this episode as widely as possible with colleagues, with your family, friends, your spouse, whatever your partner. And make sure that you join us next time for more conversation shaping the future of energy. So until then, guys, stay curious, stay inspired, and may the sun and the wind be with you. Take care, guys.